everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Reality's Breakdown. Tonight we're going to be talking about spirit science, which is it's kind of one of those topics that one of us is heated about. That's why they want to talk about it. Tonight we have Matt, the apoplectic atheist. We have Sir Chad of Denver. And we have myself, the belligerent atheist. I want to thank you for showing up tonight. Also, please remember to stick around for our Atheist Spotlight near the end of the show, where we will be highlighting one atheist. We're going to spotlight them and put them on the right-hand side of our YouTube channel. They'll be the top spot for the next week. So, again, tonight is going to be spirit science, and I am going to let Apoplectic take it away. Apoplectic?
All right, guys, how's it going? As BA alluded to, I am a bit peeved about this subject. I really don't like spirit science, and I tried to kind of contain myself a little bit, but some of my sarcasm might come through in this topic. So just so if you guys haven't watched this before, usually I'll just write everything I'm going to say beforehand and read it off. And so it might sound a little monotone, and I apologize, but it just helps me gather my thoughts. So without further ado, I will start. There's more information here than can fit into our time frame, so I plan to just give an overview of spirit science as I see it. I bet we have all run afoul of spirit science, whether you realize it at the time or not. What most people encounter are the platitude memes on Facebook. You know, those stylized images with a simple color palette showing some sort of stick figure scene with two people sitting somewhere, or a farmer, or a starry night, or a beautiful sunny day, and something simple and relatable to anyone. And now you slap on some used up, virtually meaningless platitude mixed with a dash of fortune cookie and a pinch of generic horoscope fodder. You now have something that sounds profound, and at the same time, it's obvious, intelligent sounding, and simple enough for the everyday average working man. Have you ever felt like you don't belong, but then sometimes you can be the life of the party? You know when times are tough is when you find out who you are on the inside. Your vibrations will soon come into the energy mind of the cosmic river that feeds your life wind. You know, those kind of things. Why do I have a problem with this? Well, the hackneyed platitudes on Facebook, while seemingly harmless, promote the batshit crazy cult that is spirit science. In case you haven't delved deeper into the story behind these virtual business cards that you're potentially handing out, that is they all have the spirit science brand logo on them. Let me give you a quick rundown and leave it to you to look into the rest. Spirit science was created by Jordan Pierce at the wise old age of 18 years old, although admittedly now he is 24. I know what you're saying. So what if my cult leader was only 18? His spirit mind vibrations are like 500 years old and quantum entangled with Einstein. It started with a video series on YouTube under username Spirit Science. This video series was spawned from this young man's journey out into the world. From what I can tell, he started with some New Age notions and continued to surround himself in the culture. He decided to make a vlog to share his journey. Video 18 of his vlog became popular because he apparently snuck into a hospital and filmed the surgery taking place. From what I have gathered, his goal was to show how evil hospitals are and that hospitals can't heal us. The only way we can heal is by mind over matter and crystals. That's particularly funny because mind over matter and crystals can't seem to work on all of his acne. I know that that's a low blow, but I feel someone had to say it. Around this time, he was convinced by a friend that making a cult was a good idea, and his 30-some-odd video series was born with about 45 other videos to accompany it. I'm not totally clear on how many videos are in the core series because, to be honest, like everything this guy does, it's a completely mind-numbing jumble of word salad that goes on forever and ever, like my fifth eye chakra peering into a blue moon crystal I received from a space Jew. These videos blew the fuck up. Why? The only reason I came up with was he hit the New Age wave right at its crest. The video caught on around the same time as the Dr. Oz and Deepak Chopra craze. Drivel such as this is gobbled up by the gullible contemporary New Age movement. So what does this cult believe? I will quote the Rational Wiki article because they sum it up much better than I can. And this is quoting the article directly. You can go read it yourself. Just search for Spirit Science Rational Wiki. It would likely be easier to list the beliefs the spirit science does not adhere to. The spirit science is a conglomeration of nearly every piece of pseudoscience and pseudo-history you have ever heard of. The people of the spirit science believe that Martians came to Atlantis and began ruling the human population of Atlantis. They also believe that a part of the pyramids is a space warship that was used in 1989 to make all the Greys get sick, causing them to flee Earth, and that there is a giant underground city under Egypt near the ship. Jesus Christ went to Tibet to become a Buddhist and return as a wise man and spiritual leader. Also, his birth was planned by the Egyptian god Thoth, though he wasn't actually an Egyptian god, but the fucking king of Atlantis, according to the Emerald Tablets, whatever those are. In order for humanity to achieve Christ consciousness in 13,000 years, whatever that means, sacred geometry is for real and determines much of our biology. The heart creates a donut-shaped energy field around the body, and everyone has a red spinning wheel in the anus. A tunnel in Romania that goes to Egypt, and that there are 13 families that are descendants of Martians that invaded Atlantis and are now secretly controlling the world and are essentially the Illuminati, except that the Illuminati are no longer the true good human Illuminati, but actually a Catholic corruption of the Illuminati, and that Jews are aliens or from the future. No, really. And that was the quote, and I'll go back to my writing. That's it. That's all it takes to start a cult and make a shitload of money hand over fist from ads and merchandise. Just make up some crazy-ass shit and promote it by creating a cartoon and by hijacking age-old platitudes that your aunt and childhood friends will blindly promote on Facebook because it makes them feel like they have it all figured out. Is a comfortable lie better than a cold, hard truth? The end. So, if you haven't noticed, I'm not very fond of spirit science. You guys have anything?
Yeah, I did. So, my first point that I want to make, if it was valid, it would be science, not pseudoscience. That's just something I want to bring up. It would be, actually tested and proven science.
It is science. It's spirit science. They have hijacked the term science, dude. This is another thing that drives me insane. You can't take the word science, slap it onto this. Oh my God, dude. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but.
No, you're fine, man. You're fine. And the second point that I wanted to make, as I've said before, proliferating bad ideas on the web without subtext or your opinions laid out with your information is negligent. So there's nothing wrong with liking something that you see because it makes you feel good. In fact, I'm pretty sure that that's one of the major evolutionary advantages we have as humans. We can contrive emotion for many things, much like many other animals do, but it's our empathy towards our other man, our other human. Man being mankind and humankind, not man as in one gender or another, that makes us different from other animals. So there's nothing wrong with seeing something and, feeling good about it and then wanting to share it with everyone. There's nothing wrong with seeing something that you hate and sharing it with everyone. There's nothing wrong with seeing something that you think is stupid and sharing it with everyone. But like Matt brought up earlier, when you share something on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or 4chan or Reddit or any of the other thousands of social media sites or applications or communities that I've missed, and you don't put your subtext, you don't put your opinion back on there, your disclaimer, if you will, and you just blindly share it and you don't say anything, everyone that sees that is very likely to think that that is, that is something that resonates deeply with you. I share a lot of shit on Facebook that I think is dumb. I share a lot of shit on Facebook and Twitter and other sites that I don't agree with, but I always put in there, what I think about it. And, that's just my opinion. That's not a rule for life. I'm not telling you how to live, but I think that sharing things like this and sharing things that don't have a basis is fine as long as you add on there has been nothing to discredit this so far, or I don't think that this is correct because, or there are many studies looking at one side or another of this. Sharing that inconsistency, sharing the truth about it, sharing your opinion is fine, but I don't think that we should just share things online without adding some form of disclaimer, just sharing it to the masses, because that's just proliferating the ignorance of the actual meme itself. Chad, did you have something?
I did. I think, Matt, you brought up a great point, and I think it's fair to say that we're all pretty much in unison with regard to the quote-unquote word salad and the empty platitudes thrown out there by the likes of, like, Deepak Chopra was one of the names you mentioned. Like you guys, he makes my blood boil. Every time I hear that guy, I just think of all of the gullible people who buy into the sheer ignorance he propagates. He uses such a conglomeration of words to come across as some sort of scientific expert, whereas, we just need to stop people and actually tell them to think and dissect the claims that these people are making. And while it can be comforting in times of loss or grief or whatnot to have these platitudes to kind of help, brighten your day, so to speak, unfortunately, the world is based on reality. We live in a natural world. And with that said, it really grinds my gears as well when people hear the term science to whatever type of dogma or doctrine they're trying to push that clearly is not based anything whatsoever on the scientific method. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, I just really want to emphasize that I don't want to get on people's case if they share these just because it's a nice thing, what I mean? They don't know, they didn't do the homework. I understand that. Shit happens, But that's why us rational people and us skeptics have to work like 3 times harder to get it out there what this is actually about. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like an infection, man. Like there's so many people sharing this. Like I'm seeing atheists share this guy's stuff, and it's like I understand not all atheists are rational, not all atheists are skeptics, and it's just I feel like I got to fight for my people. But I want to say that if you think Deepak Chopra's word salad, man, this guy took his entire playbook, dude, and then added Jewish aliens and Atlantis. Oh my God, it's just crazy, man. And I don't know. All right, go ahead, BA.
Sorry about that. I had to go click my mute button. All right. So something else that I wanted to say was now platitudes sometimes are great. Like Chad said, they help people in the short term, in the interim, and they can be great. And I'm not going to be the person that stands there and tells people how to grieve or tells people how to deal with things. But in that placebo effect, it is my opinion that platitudes can prevent individuals from working through their emotions all the way. Some people rely on platitudes in the day-to-day and continue to rely on them, which is their opinion, and I support their right to do so. But platitudes aren't the only thing that are going to help you along. And something else that I want to say along with the placebo effect is, sometimes the placebo effect works and works perfectly, and I don't have a problem with that. If taking that sugar pill makes you feel better and you want to keep taking it and it makes your knees stop hurting, or it makes your back stop hurting, I'm 100% fine with that. Whatever is making you feel better, whatever is helping you ease that pain or that stress, I'm 100% for, because we don't deal with things in the same way. And some people need that reassurance from someone else that they respect and trust, and to use that product to help them. And that is something I'm 100% for. There aren't always a wealth of studies that can help point us in one specific direction to the absolute best way to fix a problem or to fix a pain or to fix something. There aren't always a wealth of scientific studies available for each topic, and some things do work. There's plenty of natural medicine that does wonders that have not been completely explored. Even something with such advantages such as GMOs require further study, because as they are great and they've done a lot for our society, we cannot know too much about them because we may discover something harmful and a better, more efficient way to create that, to move forward with that. So, people that use these products, that use these technologies, I don't have a problem with if it's making them feel better. However, I would like to say that I am against people that use these things that are causing harm to themselves. There are plenty, and my show next week is going to cover this a little bit more in depth. But there are people that subvert medicine in times of need, and for them and their children, and people die because of it. There is no reason that you shouldn't explore any alternative that you want. However, you have to be able to deal with the consequences, and you have to be able to deal with the idea that what you're going for doesn't work. I mean, it's your right to do so, but I am against people intentionally harming themselves using some of these things, I guess is my point, and that particularly makes my blood boil.
I want to say I agree with you. If it's a placebo effect, it's something minor and it helps people. I mean, this is what has been really hard for me up until, I did a lot of research on this, and then I just can't sit by and accept that anymore, because I agreed with you. It's great. It's helping people. If people want to rub crystals all over them and they feel better, it's great. They feel better. What do I care? But the line between that and them not seeking real medical help for real problems is being pushed back every day. So many more people are turning to these things every day, and it's sad. Like, I really worry about my close family and friends who are buying into this. Like, I'll give a story. I have a close family member who totally has fallen for this spirit science thing, and they wear a crystal on their head all day underneath a hat like this, and they tell me that it's raised their IQ 30 points since they started wearing it. Where does that end? This is a family member of mine who has had many health problems and has now converted to this, and I'm afraid that they think if a crystal can raise your IQ by 30 points, what else can it do? It can help me the next time I need to go to the hospital. You know what I'm saying? And the line is becoming blurred, and all of those little things where they think it's helping build up to the point where something serious happens, and I'm worried that they're going to make the wrong decision. What do you have, Chad?
These people that buy into these pseudoscientific claims, such as what you're talking about with regard to crystals or tinctures, or Ben Carson said something like the root of a tree cured his colon cancer. Just these claims that they have no substantiation behind them whatsoever. There's a little snippet that I saw in an article here. I just want to read just a quick snippet of that if I could, and it's coming directly from Deepak Chopra. And so this is the stuff that these people need to buy into. I don't know at what point, and I'd love to get you guys' feedback after this, with respect to why do you think it is that people buy into this, so they bite it hook, line, and sinker. So there's two little snippets. So first it says, this is Deepak Chopra, by the way. There are traditions that say the in-body experience is a socially induced collective hallucination. We do not exist in the body. The body exists in us. We do not exist in the world. The world exists in us. And the author here goes to say, maybe I'm dim-witted, but I cannot for the life of me figure out what this means. Likewise on the deity of life and death, and this is the second little thing that Deepak says. Birth and death are space-time events in the continuum of life. So the opposite of life is not death. The opposite of death is birth, and the opposite of birth is death, and the continuum of birth is death, which goes on and on. I mean, this stuff is just facepalm inspiring, and these are the same people that are buying those bracelets that say that they energize your body and you'll have better balance. And have you guys seen those infomercials late at night, or is it just me?
Yeah, the magnet ones and all that.
Yeah, it's the same type of stuff. So, I mean, do you guys want to chime in on any of what I just shared, or?
Yeah, I did. I wanted you to restate your question. Was it, at what point does it become harmful? Was that your question? I can't remember.
No, what is it exactly that makes these people buy into this stuff hook, line, and sinker? I mean, I understand that, people want to find the path of least resistance, which Matt had alluded to earlier. I agree with you, Matt, that we typically do have to work 3 times as hard as other people to be quote unquote skeptical or rational, to really come to our own conclusions. Most people seem to be, and I hate to make a hasty generalization, but most people seem to just want to be spoon fed the path of least resistance. And so I'm looking to you guys to maybe shed some insight to our listening audience as to why so many people seem to want to take that path and quote unquote buy this stuff.
Well, I can tell you, because people, much like organized religion, they like that sense of hope. They like that sense of thinking that there's something out there, whether or not it's quick and simple, or the more quick and the more simple, the better. But people like to think that whatever is ailing them, that there's always something that can fix it. People like to think that there's always a solution for all of their problems, and that someone has found that solution and is giving it to them. They like the ease and the convenience of things. And I'd like to, that was my point on your question, that they just like that feeling of hope. They like that feeling of solution, that they want to know that their quandary has been solved already. And then my next thought was, when does it become harmful? That was my question. So to me, it becomes harmful not when someone buys a bracelet or takes a pill. It's not when there's something minor that they do, that maybe it's meditating with a crystal on their forehead, maybe it's wearing a crystal under their hat, maybe it's doing those things. Those things, to me, are not entirely harmful, but there are plenty of ways that can. I mean, we can take any of those situations that I mentioned and we can make them harmful. If you are financially crippling yourself for this solution, that's harmful. So you don't have the money, or even if you do, I guess, if you have the exposable income, but let's say you don't in this situation. Give me that. So you don't have a lot of money. You're a regular Joe working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, just making minimum wage, just doing whatever you need to do to get by. And there's this pill that has been offered to you that will cure, you'll no longer be tired from working all your long days. You'll have instant energy. You'll be able to go throughout your daily life and you won't need as much sleep. You can survive on 3 hours of sleep.
It's called a
Your knees,
speedball.
yeah. Your knees, your back, your shoulders from all your manual labor and everything is instantly cured. But this pill is $40 a pill, and you have to take 1 pill every single day. That is harmful. Things that you do to yourself in the name of these that obviously scam ventures, sending a Nigerian prince, $1,000 and giving him your bank account routing information is harmful. Those are the types of things that I consider harmful. Blatantly disregarding modern science when you know your child needs to go, when you know that your child has pneumonia, needs to go to the hospital, when you know all of those things, and you willfully neglect that and your child dies, or even doesn't die and is crippled, or in any case, that is harmful to me. Just buying a bracelet and wearing it on your wrist, and then using the power of the human mind, that the human mind is very powerful, and I will say that. And there are a lot of instances where people do recover, or they're temporarily, and I don't want to use the word enhanced, but minorly relieved. They think that they feel better, and they do feel better because they think so. So in that idea, I don't think that is harmful, but I already outlined where I thought it was harmful. So I believe next is Chad.
So, guys, is it just me, or is this entire spirit science quote-unquote movement exceptionally synonymous with like the Buddhist mindset? In contrast to Christianity, which seems to deal so much more in absolutes, because there's absolute truth of Christ's existence and absolute this, absolute that, as stated in the Bible. This just falls on so much. It lacks any sort of clarity to really. I mean, people can derive whatever meaning they want from it. So that seems to me, and I want to get you guys' feedback on this, to be very synonymous with like the Buddhist mindset and spirit science, kind of tied into tied into each other. What do you think?
I'm going to cover two things real quick. For one, I disagree with BA. I think every small step that helps these people propagate this meme is harmful. Clearly, some are more harmful than others, but buying that bracelet is giving this person money. It's giving them a pat on the back. It's giving them a reason to continue to propagate this. Every small step. That's why this guy has 9 million followers on Facebook right now, because of all these small steps, all these business cards we're handing out, and every one, even if only 8 million of them are buying the small bracelet or handing out the business cards, that leaves a chunk of them who are heavily invested. When you cast a wide net like that, you're going to have a big effect. And that's the complacency that I just disagree in that aspect. And then as far as it being partially Buddhist, I would say that you're seeing the creation of a religion happening before your eyes, and if you sit there and make excuses for it, it's going to be like Christianity in the future. You can look at Christianity and it seems like it's a lot more rigid now, but that's from fucking, I don't know, almost 2,000 years of distilling it down into this, of editing it, of Council of Nicaea and all of these people getting together and distilling it down to making it somewhat coherent. And it still contradicts itself. You could still find anything you want in there. But this, right now, what they're doing now, is what's happening with Spirit Science, is it's such a huge wide net. They encompass everything. They have Jesus, they have Buddha, they have every religion. They'll take anything they can get because every one of them is going to buy that small bracelet. Every one of them is going to give them money. Every one of them is going to click on an ad on YouTube and support this guy. So that's what they're doing. They're being completely ambiguous. And they're just taking platitudes that have been around forever, slapping their logo on it that everybody agrees with. Everybody agrees with those, and they're making money on it. And that's my thought on the thing.
Well, I definitely don't disagree with your objection to the scamming. I don't. Our problem comes in when we see something that is pseudoscientific that comes forward, or someone's making a claim about something. I know that this is my problem. When I look at that thing, I immediately go to your scientifically peer-reviewed sites. I immediately go to those sites that I trust. For health matters, I go to nih.gov and look at the National Institute of Health. You know, I go those routes that way. And when you look at certain products that are making these claims, unless I can completely destroy it, if there's a major enough shred of doubt where I can't take the technology and I can't break it down so that it's completely useless, I have a hard time fighting this idea. Now, there are plenty of things that I do that I have battled online, which is the anti-vax movement, talking to individuals about, vaccine-caused autism and other anti-vax things like that, which I am covering some form of that next week's show, so I'm not going to jump into very deeply. But if I can't tear something down, I don't go out of my way to jump at something, and I continue to look for the research to break it down. So, I mean, I do take that time and I do invest that, and I do go back in to do that research and to talk against it. And whereas I don't personally subscribe to those ventures, I can't just completely destroy it like I do in everything else. So I don't jump into it and talk about it. I guess that's my thing.
Is it just me, guys, or does it seem like a lot of our friends on Facebook who share this type of spirit science and Deepak Chopra, memes and whatnot, are they not the same type of people who propagate the, Microsoft will send you $1,000 and all the other, the things that are quite easily debunked on Snopes? I mean, like you mentioned the Nigerian prince scam that's been around for, a decade now or longer. There's a multitude of things that I've seen come across my news feed of people who post this stuff, and while some of it I've read through some of it and looked at the memes and I'm like, wow, that's a cool picture, cool backdrop. I just feel like Matt said, they're distilling a lot of it makes me facepalm. It almost renders me speechless just because I can't believe logical, reasonable people will buy into this stuff. Matt, did you have anything on that?
Yeah, I completely agree. And what I'm saying there's two sides to this. Okay, there's a couple ways to look at this. Say you're on the side of spirit science and you're only the guy who buys the little bracelet and you don't buy into the big things. And then you have the guy who buys into the big things, okay? And then on our side, you can be a guy who buys the little bracelet, or you can be a firebrand. So it takes all people. It takes all people working together for skepticism and rational thinking. So I'm not saying everybody has to go out there and fight, but if you just say one little thing here, like, oh, I don't think that's true. Somebody posts a Nigerian scam, like, just say, like, that sounds like a scam. That's all you have to do. I mean, I'm not saying you have to do anything, but you can feel good about just doing a small thing. You know what I mean? You are the opposition to the guy buying the little bracelet. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that they are those type of people, from what I found, and it's just really hard when it's someone close to you too, because you know how they are, and you know that they're a dreamer, and you know that they're just sharing these things because it makes them feel good, and they don't mean any harm. And it makes me even more mad when it's that type of person, because they are being taken advantage of. They are the sheep for these type of people. What do you have, Chad?
So, as somebody who is a collector of a ton of different quotes out there, I mean, I like to post quotes in my home. I put sticky notes up on my mirror and stuff when I'm getting ready in the morning. And I look at them just to kind of remind myself. So, my question to you guys is somebody who can find meaning in, like, poetry and or quotes, where do we draw the line of distinction between the quote unquote pseudo or spirit science, claims, and or somebody like me who finds meaning in certain quotes or little, you walk into people's homes and you see the love lives in this home or something like that. I mean, that might seem like an empty platitude to some, but I think it's purposeful in some respects, where it does serve a purpose to give some people kind of a conscious reminder to maybe adhere to a better way of living, and maybe, I don't know, I'm not defending spirit science whatsoever, because like you guys, I stand as a staunch opposition of it. But my question is, where do we draw the line between these empty platitudes of spirit science and unscientific claims that they post, and the people like me who on occasion enjoy seeing these little heartfelt type poetic pieces? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I agree with you, Matt, and I'm not saying that spirit science is not a scam, and I'm not saying that I don't think it's not true. I'm not saying that I'm subscribing to it, supporting it. I'm just saying that I don't have the evidence to just destroy it, from beginning to end. And as you were saying, when it's someone close to you, if that situation happens and someone's close to you, it's a lot harder to come down on them. And to answer your question, Chad, in the same thing, is that I don't particularly jump down the throat of cherry pickers. I don't go after people that cherry pick, people that are particularly progressive, religious progressives. I don't go after people that just say they're trying to live a good life and still aren't stoning gay people in the streets. I don't go after those people that hang the love lives here sign and things like that. I don't walk in and the first thing I say is, why are you anthropomorphizing love? It's blah 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 blah. And I don't do that. I don't attack those things. And do I attack Christianity? Yes. Do I think that a lot of that everything that I've seen from spirit science is a scam? Absolutely. Do I think that they're taking money from people? Yes, I do. But when I have that evidence, like with Christianity, I think that that's horrible, and there's plenty of horrible evidence for that. There's plenty of evidence against it. There's plenty of things that I see for Islam and for the other major religions out there. There are plenty of things that I see that are horrible with anti-vax that make me instantly hate it. There are plenty of things that I see with all those movements. But much like I don't go after progressives that are just living day to day and they're completely normal people, that are just doing good things for good people, and they use their faith as a way to do good things. They don't use their faith to do bad things. In the same way that I don't go after them, I don't go after the people that wear a magnetic bracelet on my wrist, whether or not I think that them aligning the electric field of their body and ionizing their particular cells as they align together to make them a north-south magnet, whether or not I think that that's actually correct, I'm not going after them for that, because unless I have the evidence that it's particularly harmful to themselves or someone else, I don't really say that much about it. When it becomes harmful to me, that's when I attack it. I mean, harmful in my opinion, not directly harmful to me.
Yeah, I just want to say, I'm not attacking the platitudes, and I agree with you, Chad. I like those quaint little platitudes. I like seeing them, and I'm totally fine with that. Like, I don't attack people when they say, you know, you gotta thank God and all that stuff. Whatever, dude, you know, that's fine. What my problem is they're hijacking them to make money off them. That's what it's equated to, and I'm trying to attack. I'm honestly, I hope you guys, I don't think you do, but I hope you don't think I'm attacking the supporters of spirit science. I'm trying to attack spirit science and the cult leader of spirit science, who is alive right now. If you could have dissented to Jesus and said something about Jesus while he was alive, would you have done it? You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you right now could be teleported back to the days of Jesus, if he existed, and could have said to one of his apostles, wait a minute, dude, I don't think that's true, I'm pretty sure you would have at least said something like that. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. It's like, we have the chance now to say something and potentially help people and not let this thing snowball, which, I mean, it's crazy. 9 million followers on Facebook. I think it's already gone too far, but I don't know. But yeah, platitudes, it's all right. And I want to say, like, I wish people would go and look for another source for all these platitudes instead of just sharing the first one they see, which usually ends up being spirit science. But I know that's too hard for people, and I don't know a good way around it, but I don't know, because you can find all these things anywhere else. Like, you can even make them up yourself. But does anybody else got something?
Yeah, I mean, I'll reiterate what you said. I agree with you. I mean, I'm not attacking any one, supporter, and I never believed that you were, or that you were trying to destroy the platitudes. It would be like, saying that you hate Shakespeare just because his plays are fake. I mean, it's one of those things where, but I see what you're saying is that, people are being harmed by this shit. People are being scammed by it. I guess I am against that. I am not against the people. You and I are in perfect agreement of that. It's just that there are some times where I look and people thinking one thing or another. It's a slippery slope. It really is. It's a hard line. Nothing in life is black and white. Everything is this weird, fucked up shade of gray. And as we walk through it, we're walking a line. And with this, it's hard in this particular instance for me to, completely jump down and just obliterate it, because with things like the magnetic bracelets, positive and negative ions do actually have an effect on our body, in the air, in our environment. So it's hard for me to jump down and to separate the exact claim, because the claim is so fucking nebulous. It's hard for me to blow away the complete claim. Now, I can blow away individual ideas of the claim, but it's hard for me to destroy the whole thing. And just like with the God of Gaps, it's, the pseudoscience of gaps. Where you destroy one thing, they'll say, well, it definitely does something like this, or they move that fucking goalpost further and further away, to the point where sometimes some of us wonder whether or not it's worthwhile to keep going after it. But we still keep going after it, and for that I applaud everyone else all of us that do. But I'm just really giving us a pat on the back. So I guess I will pass the torch back to Matt, because he has something to say.
Before we get off this topic, I want to actually give a quick shout-out to Contrived Platitudes. That was the image we shared earlier while I was talking, before I forget. And they are basically counteracting this whole platitude movement, and they just got kind of funny things on there. And then I wanted to say, like, I was gonna go into this whole thing, but I think it was kind of wrong of me. But I guess I'll do it just so you know what I was thinking of. If you look into this stuff, if you look into spirit science, one of their main things is called orgonite. It's pretty hard to describe. It's just a pseudoscience. Orgonite is a man-made, basically. It's just totally crazy stuff. They make these pyramids out of like this clear like plastic enamel, and they put like metal in it, and they claim it has all these properties. But one of the things orgonite does, and what they tell people to do, is to wage spiritual warfare with orgonite, and they make little pucks out of it in cupcake pans, and they call them orgonite grenades, and they go and like hide them in buildings, and they throw them. One of the things they do is they throw them at cell phone towers because they say that it beams the positive energy through the tower instead of the negative energy that the tower is passing out. And what they do is they bury them in the ground, and this is all on YouTube, and then they put copper pipes in the ground sticking up at the sky because they're trying to shoot these energy beams at planes that fly over their house. But what I'm saying is, like, I changed my mind on this. I was going to go into this whole spiel. What I was going to say was, when is the day when he's going to say, okay, the orgonite didn't work, now we need to pull out a gun and shoot it at the airplane, which I think I was going down a kind of crazy track there. But so I don't think that that's going to happen. I was going to say that, but I wanted to let you guys know what was going on in my head. I don't think that's going to happen, but I want you guys to look into orgonite. I wanted to bring that up. It's just completely insane what these people are doing. It's just scary. It just scares me that people can be convinced on this type of craziness, you know? It's kind of a slippery slope argument, I know, like what's next if they can be convinced of this, and I didn't want to go there, but I just wanted to bring up orgonite. So I'm done.
I just wanted to reach out real quick and give you kudos because I think this by far was one of our better shows in that the passion we all have for this, and I think the listening audience would be able to obviously pick that up pretty quickly to articulate the points that we have on this. It's just more or less we're not telling or encouraging people to do anything other than just think. We don't need people to think like us. Just think, question things, right? I mean, people that just nod their head and just want to be spoon-fed these platitudes from the likes of Deepak Chopra and all the other people out there kind of pawning this stuff off and basically getting rich off of it. I mean, look at the book deals that are happening as a result of this. It's just, it's facepalm inspiring. So without further ado, I think, were we going to do the current event article, BA?
Real quick, I just want to say he's doing all of this in the name of science. He's using the name of science. That's really what gets me here, so I just want to leave off on that.
Yeah, I don't disagree that improperly using words, especially to fit your own means and to scam people in that way is horrible, and I think that is deplorable behavior and should be stopped. Yes, and actually I'd like to wrap this up and then move on to our current event. So, Search out of Denver, will you lead us in our current event?
Sure thing. Pulling it up on the screen. Okay. Vandalized. Greater Church of Lucifer opens in Texas. I'm not sure if this has necessarily propagated itself fully across national news lines as of yet, obviously because of the strong Christian ties to the media and whatnot. However, I found this one interesting. It came across my news feed yesterday, and obviously with Halloween and Pat Robertson saying what he said about, celebrating Halloween is like celebrating Satan, and it just, what to me really is profound with respect to this article is you have these Christians who are basically claiming to be loving individuals. It speaks nothing more than hypocrisy to me, because if you quote unquote love thy neighbor, it shouldn't matter if they believe in something different than you, as long as their actions and whatnot aren't harming anybody else. And actually the Church of Satan, which they don't even believe in Satan, their doctrine is far more demonstrably like better for humanity than that of Christians. And so you're highlighting in there, the leader of the church, he says exactly. He says we don't worship the devil. Going on further, instead of switching screens here myself, can you scroll down a little bit further there? There was something in here where basically saying that it's spiritual warfare is what they're going to do. They're going to stand outside, protest, and pray, and they've already vandalized this place. I mean, there's a news clip on there for the listeners if they want to watch. It's like a 2-minute and 35-second clip as to you know, some of the kind of video footage, if you will, of what's transpired. But I just find this kind of behavior just deplorable. Like Alan said, that's a great word, because for a culture that is supposedly a loving, love thy neighbor, turn the other cheek, it just seems to me to be extremely hypocritical that somebody who has differing ideas, and here's the kicker, guys, is that they know jack shit about what happens inside the quote unquote Church of Satan. I mean, Christians don't even know that they don't even believe in Satan. It's basically, a non-profit atheist organization, is for lack of a better word. So, and their doctrine and the tenets of the Church of Satan are far better than the Ten Commandments. It's talking about living your life in a much better way. It's not making yourself a god. It's not worshiping any invisible entities. So, to me, this one really boils my blood as well. That the hypocrisy and or the actions by these quote unquote Christians to their fellow human beings. I mean, live and let live, right? You guys want to add anything to it?
Yeah, sure, I'll go. So, like you said, and like I highlighted before, now if anyone wants to read this, the link is on the top of the screen. I'll include the link in the description of the video. But, we're not worshiping the devil. We're not pushing our views on other people. He said the church is not worshiping any god at all, but about the strength of self-reliance and the power of self. The symbol of Lucifer is a symbol of spiritual rebellion, but also rebellion with a purpose. And it's not against Christianity. And something else I want to say real quick, he said, if somebody were to come here and say you can't be a Christian anymore, it's illegal to be a Christian, we would probably be the first people to stand up for Christians for their right to believe what they believe. We honor their right to believe what they believe and their right to protest. We can honor that right. There will be no resistance from our end because we cherish that right ourselves. We can all coexist. That's all we want. That's all we want. So you can see in that article, and it's not just that individual person either, it's a larger movement. And while I can definitively say that not everyone of every movement is like this, and they're usually extremists on either side that will jump in and vandalize. It's not the purpose of every Christian out there to vandalize someone else. It's not the purpose of every Christian out there to destroy property of others just because they don't think the same. And that's exactly what's going on here. And also these individuals.
Wait, I need to stop you real quick. Are we certain it was a Christian who vandalized them? Because they just got vandalized.
They
just
said
all.
It's here somewhere. Shit. Where was it? I had it.
I mean, I'm almost positive it was, but I don't think it said it, and I think we're kind of jumping to a conclusion that might not be fair.
Yeah, protesters have promised to return from the church site again this Halloween weekend. Where was it? Chad, you read this. I'm trying to find it.
I don't see how they could know that the vandalizer was Christian unless they caught him. I don't think it said it, but anyhow, I'm not going to make that assumption.
It doesn't necessarily mean causation, but there's, they would be a quote-unquote person of interest, because what group is going to stand outside and protest something? And how we all know that eventually leads to actions. I mean, the Sandra Bland protests and all the other things that have happened have been a result of people who initially protested and then went and vandalized local stores and whatnot. So I mean, there's probably a strong correlation. We can't necessarily assume that is definitely that same Christian group, but the likelihood of it being so is not too illogical to think so. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. Considering 80% of the United States is Christian, it's pretty good odds that a Christian did it. But I just don't want to be like them. And in the same sense, I would like to say that I can't really. I don't know. I mean, I don't think being Christian had anything to do with this vandalism. I think if it was just, think of all the Christian churches that were attacked by atheists, like in, I don't know, Sweden, like the black metal bands, and then the flying spaghetti monster vandalism. It can happen on either side. So it's like the whole hypocrisy thing. Yeah, hypocrisy exists. It's going to happen, and I don't know, man. It's just I don't want to use this as like, oh, woe is us, we're getting picked on by them when we've done the same thing to them, you know? And it's like it's just gonna happen. So that's my take.
I've looked at a few different articles while you guys were talking, while I was listening, and they said that that Christian protesters have been out there every day. They don't know who did the vandalism, but someone climbed up on the roof and made a clean cut into an extremely old tree that was on the property that they share with the Mystic Muse. The tree fell onto the roof and damaged the roof. With massive branches. It's a century-old tree with massive branches. So someone climbed up and cut a branch and damaged the roof. They have not.
That is crazy.
They have not released who did it, or if they have any definitive leads. But there have been every single day out there individuals protesting this church and throwing things at it. But they don't know there was a Christian or anyone in particular.
That is really weird to climb a tree and cut a branch. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, yeah, that's all I got.
All right, so we don't have anything else. Then we're going to wrap this up. Tonight we talked about spirit science. Oh, our spotlight. Let's see.
Yep. Spotlight, just paying homage to the whole spirit science thing, is going to be Martimer81 on YouTube. Actually, it's kind of stupid to me. I'm pretty sure he's an atheist, but I can't remember, but I'm like almost positive he is. So hopefully he's an atheist, but I can actually go check right now. But he does a whole video series basically attacking spirit science and woo, and the way he talks is really dry. He tries to add a little bit of stank on it and make it a little bit better, which kind of works out. But I mean, he seems to be pretty popular. But yeah, if you guys want to delve into spirit science a little bit more from a more skeptical viewpoint, oh yeah, he's clearly atheist there. Then please check him out. You can see him countering a lot of the stuff point for point of the videos. And it's just a little better than having to watch the actual spirit science videos because they're really long, they're really crazy. You're gonna drive yourself nuts, and at least if he's watching it with you, you have a buddy there sharing in your pain in some way. So that's what I would recommend.
All right, awesome. So Martimer81 will be spotlighted on the right-hand side of the Heretic Clerics channel under the section that says Atheist Spotlight. You'll be there for the next week up on top, just like as our other spotlights have been. So tonight we talked about spirit science. We talked about the major tenets, which is basically everything of spirit science and the history of the founder. We delved in a little deeper into the issue, and we proceeded on to the Church of Lucifer vandalization in Houston, Texas. Talked about that, and our spotlight again was Martimer81 on YouTube. From everyone here at the Heretic Clerics, I would like to say thank you for showing up tonight, and thank you for watching the show. And please join us again next Sunday, 7 p.m., when we talk about homeopathy versus naturopathy. Thank you, and deuces.